Welcome everyone to tonight's matchup of Valorant playoffs. We're currently in our quarterfinals series. Tonight we have Roosevelt Lakers going up against Midwestern State University. And I'm joined by the wonderful Cherry. How are you, Cherry?
I'm doing fantastic. We're in for a treat. Two big teams gonna clash it out on the battlefield now. When we look at maps, you expect those standard map picks to come out as usual. However, we will be getting to, fortunately, see a little bit of some crazier stuff. Now, for our first team, they will be picking Roosevelt, and that's going to be Haven to start us off. It's a map that is kind of standard, but straight on after that, we will be seeing Icebox to be that secondary map to see a 2-0 potentially, maybe equalize it 1-1, and then just to conclude our series, if it does get that far, Ascent, a map that has recently been added to the map pool as well, and obviously that is the tried and true, but it hasn't been seen in a while, so it does beg the question, will these teams adapt to the change, or will they potentially falter when it comes to these new strategies that need to be developed on these maps?
Yeah, the usual Ascent Lotus, or not Lotus, Pearl to start our maps that we usually see. Definitely a lot different. Haven first, and then followed up by Icebox, which I don't think we've seen too much this season. So I'm curious to see how it goes down. Aside from that, though, we should be underway in just a minute. As we said, Haven is going to be our first start out. Roosevelt will be defending on that side with MSU over on the attack, and then once we get over to our map 2, the sides will swap. Roosevelt will be attacking and MSU will be defending.
Yeah, we,
But yeah, we should be underway in just a couple minutes here. Cherry, any other notes you want to add before we starting it off here?
Yeah, I mean, we do see both these teams coming into the playoffs. They want to take the win. The question now becomes, will we see new characters adapted? Obviously, new patches will be coming in very soon. That's going to include a buff to the KO, which it's a very strong buff when it comes to being able to make individual play styles work instead of having to go for that team play, which is why the KO win rate in ranked has been so low. But I would like to see a KO come out just to conclude it. And I think on a map like Icebox and a map like Ascent, it is very likely to come out. Haven, not so much. The Haven meta, it has been pretty standardized for a while now. Double Initiator is common, but it is mostly going to be that Sova and Breach that will really do that heavy lifting for the team in terms of utility. KO, definitely something that could be added in if you do so trues, but I think that the main thing you want to really look for is, will we be seeing that Waylay? Now, Waylay, certainly a good character on Icebox and Ascent. It's a character you see in pro play and collegiate quite a bit. I've seen it a decent amount. Obviously, even in tier 1, we've seen 5 Chinese teams pick it up, which has been the max of any region. However, North America, which we are in now, has actually had the fewest, with only 3 teams bringing that in, and I believe that's going to be, it's definitely G2 and 2 others. I cannot remember off the top of my head. I just remember seeing that statistic, and I'd like to see a Waylay come out today, but I know that is wishing a lot because it's definitely a high skill ceiling champion.
Yeah, it's great insight, really. I like the fact that you mentioned KO. KO having those strong flashes and the knife to suppress enemy agents, but we've just seen the field being dominated by the combination of Breach Teho. So it's honestly up in the air of what are we going to be seeing tonight. Definitely, we might even see an Omen since it is Haven. Sometimes we see that Clove being brought out for the revive and the grenade, and of course the smokes after death are always helpful. Despite them being the lowest lasting smokes in the game, I believe, it's still quite effective, and their size is pretty good. You could still one way pretty reliably with a Clove smoke. Other than that, you are in the side of duelists. We usually see our Yoru Jet kind of action here, but we could definitely see something even spicier. I'm predicting, we might even go in the way of maybe not a Reina, but there definitely could be some variation that I am excited for. But now, as we conclude our little intro, we're starting to get underway here onto map number 1.
Instantly, we see the locks coming through. I like this from these attacking side, putting Pet, I think that's, no, PSY on the Yoru as well. I forgot to note this earlier on, but that's a character that we will also be seeing getting a nerf later on. The decoy being brought up from 100 credits to 200 credits, just to show how powerful that ability has become in the game of Valorant. It is so useful against things like Vice and Cypher, which we will be seeing coming out here. I kind of expected to see a Vice, not gonna lie, just because of how strong Vice is right now. I think that on any map it is viable and probably the best Sentinel on any map right now. But we will get to see pretty standardized comps from both teams. Obviously, this blue side, they will be taking that very standardized composition. Meanwhile, we will see a little bit of diversity in their opponents, picking up a Jet Yoru, which isn't the most conventional duelist pair, but it certainly isn't the worst.
Yeah, the entry capability is definitely there. Whether or not it gets played correctly is the next question. The util game also being brought out from the Sova and the why am I blanking right now? The Cypher, excuse me. You know, definitely a lot of reconnaissance, a lot of flank watch to be had. You know, it's good stuff, especially all the tricky dart spots that you could get on Haven right now. But we're going to be getting underway here as we've already moved up pretty significantly up the B stairway. And just like that, we're kind of in right now. Yoru clones are going to be going out, and Roosevelt has been pushed off quite significantly. MSU are kind of just in here right now. Spike hasn't been planted just yet, but just like that, side is going to be our opening death, followed by a lot of other trades coming out, a lot of scoreboard action being traded off here. But Xerix taking out Zua and Bean getting the refrag, but it's up to Hysteria that takes out our final kill to give Roosevelt their first round.
You gotta love that. However, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that from the side of MSU. I think that they had a decent game plan going into that, but unfortunately for them, they just were not able to carry through in the end. Now, coming into round number 2, it becomes a situation where you have to get this second round, or else it will be detrimental if you are on the side of Roosevelt, because they have had so many times where they look good in that first round. However, I think it mainly came down to a little bit of over-aggression, trying to push through a link and trying to go over towards that A site, even though you had B site completely under control. And I like this a lot, but they keep doing this where they rotate over from mid to other sites.
Well, we're seeing that aggression come out yet again in full style, but Xerix is actually going to be the one to claim the life. Starting it off, bomb has been planted. Rich utility coming out, the flash and the drill bit coming out. Xerix goes big with a triple kill using quad. No stop. It's all 5. Oh my goodness, Xerix going absolutely huge on the round with the Marshall. 5 in a row with a no-scope headshot too, I believe, and that's gonna be a very dominant Roosevelt round 2.
Yeah, they did not lose a single player there. They lost a little bit of shields, but it's nothing to scoff at. At this point, it is going to be a full buy coming in from the side of MSU. They're going to want to try and pick up some really strong rifles here. However, I'm liking this a lot from them, with everyone here being able to buy up that full shield with rifle, since only one player will have lights, which could potentially cause a problem due to the Outlaw being on the opposing side, but I'm not sure that's really a detriment you will have to worry about if you are the side of Roosevelt, because, I mean, they've shown time and time again their martial skills have been second to none, so we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, both teams certainly putting up a good position over towards C. Lots of players already rotating over. They're going to be flooding out, looking to play regions they don't love.
And as you mentioned, that 2 trades already coming rather quickly, and both duelists are getting involved into the fight right there. Yet again, very fast post plant coming out from MSU, and Sai flashing out. Doesn't see anything but hitbox. Trades over Bean, and Azua also taking out Fishy right there. Hitbox still stuck in this garage position. Hysteria looking to get involved over on this stairs position, but he is, I believe MSU is aware of his position, especially now with the Sheriff bullets raining through. Miles will take out Hysteria with a very nice, well-placed headshot. Xerix still raining down, getting a lot of usage out of his weaponry. It's gonna have to come close. Hitbox does get the kill, but I believe he does have the time. It's gonna be close.
Down to the wire.
Oh my goodness. 0.1.
That's crazy. Yeah, certainly a good round. Honestly, I did not expect them to win that. I was a little bit confused when they rushed out of sight as the execute was coming online, just due to the fact that you'd expect this team to want to really contest sight with the amount of sniper rifles they had bought, but it didn't really matter. They wanted to play retake, even though they had 3 players up in the business of MSU, so clearly it was a decisive play that worked out in their favor, but the question now becomes, will they be able to secure more? I think as of now, certainly could either teams take this round, because we've seen time and time again these rounds after the bonus could be thrifties that do happen quite often, whether or not it's a sign of overconfidence, whether it's a sign of just being able to play a little bit stronger with close range weapons. The question now becomes, will we see it here? Because it definitely seems like the aggression could be in their favor.
A little bit of trigger discipline for Fishy is going to pay off. Gets 2 off the board, but Sai and Miles also joining the kill feed right there. Miles incurring a ton of damage. Hitbox swings in with Yin Jin and taking out Sai. Evening out to a 3-2 man count. The bomb is going to start to go down. It will succeed. Engine still going by. I think they're aware that the player is still top garage. Miles go big here, and he does, getting 1 kill. Immediately traded off, however, through the wall. And now it's all on. I was holding it down, not in the greatest of positions. He's able to TP back to garage. He is spotted though, and he can't make it happen. Engine closing out the round and giving Roosevelt a 4-round lead with no answer just yet.
Yeah, that certainly wasn't a round you want to have happen if you are MSU. However, I gotta say, I don't hate it from them. I think they played that relatively well in comparison to what's being thrown at them, and that lack of real weaponry to contest with certainly was shown. How they can really just take that to their advantage, use these close-range guns like the Stinger, like the Sheriff, and it worked out pretty well at the start. They were able to secure a 3v3 situation by pushing out of C-Link, and I mean, it was shown before in this half where they do like to push mid and then take aggression onto either sites. They don't like to really stick toward the B site, which honestly that might have worked a little bit stronger, but I love this smoke from them. They want to just work up C main, and they know that the operator is likely going to be online here, so they're just going to have that as a little bit of kind of kill factor where they make their opponent in Roosevelt hold this angle and hold this site, and we can kind of see it if we look at this minimap. A lot of players rotated over to C. Garage now clear, but there is going to be a jet to hold. But at this point, it's going to be a fake completely. One smoke just sold the side of Roosevelt that this would be a C hit. However, I don't hate this from Roosevelt stacking the site, just because we know they like to play retakes already. So just making another retake situation to happen, certainly not the worst situation in the world, especially when Cypher Utility is still there.
Yeah, the music was silent for a bit during our beginning of the round, but now it's cranked up all the way as 2 picks coming out on the side of Roosevelt. You know, their ability to get these post plants has been great, but the retake ability that's being presented from Roosevelt Field has just been so on point as all the members of MSU fall. And yet another round is going to go to the way of Roosevelt.
I still think that was a good round, though. Like, I know I've been saying this a lot, and it's getting to the point of glazing, but MSU, they're playing this like a team that wants to win, and they're certainly doing well. It's their post-plant situations that need a little bit of fixing, and if you can get that under control, it certainly will be a good position. This is it, though. Timeout gets taken. They want to get their stuff under control, make sure they can take a couple rounds before the half ends, because let's be honest, we're already almost halfway through the first half of the game. A 6-0 lead would definitely create a deficit that is going to be causing that mentality to be a detriment to your team. And at this point, 3 ults online for the side of Roosevelt. They're certainly going to want to play these well. We saw the Neural Theft get activated last round. It came with a decent amount of value. Along with that, we saw that Hunter's Fury. So that's a investment. However, the round was gone with 4 players remaining. So certainly an investment you're going to appreciate if you are the side of Roosevelt. MSU, they dropped in their Euro. They wanted to try and find some value with it. However, I mean, the Dimensional Drift just did not find the value you want, and maybe you'll find something more with it. But as of now, I'm not loving their.
As you were saying, the Intel, it was mainly just Intel game for Psy there using the interdimensional rift. Mainly just was able to clear the site, but it didn't really matter when Roosevelt showed such a strong retake. And as you were saying before, you know, MSU they've been playing together. They've been playing off of each other. The thing is, it all collapses the minute the post plant hits because Roosevelt has just been an overwhelming force so far. Alright, I'm excited to see that now more rifles are being brought onto the board, and Hysteria still has this op in hand nonetheless. And here we go. You're seeing that aggressive playstyle return back to our normal scheduled program. Hysteria set up with the op, and it gets a very nice pick on the tractor right there. Despite the pick, the spike is still going down. We are getting the the breach ult coming out here. Hitbox and Fishy joining the kill feed, taking out very key players here. Engine also getting a pick for himself. Bean trying to alleviate some of the pressure, but it doesn't really matter because Fishy's going to get 2 on the round and taking out Bean. And my goodness, Roosevelt are just scheming on through.
I'm not sure. Okay, that round we had a little... I mean, we've had this technical difficulty for a while now where the stream, it's a little bit laggy, but I want to say that the Cypher for MSU was sprinting there, no, when they were in grass. Like, I don't think this team... I know you said they were playing off each other, but I think the problem they're facing is that they're not really coordinated when they push sites, just because, like, we've seen them 5-man down long, we've seen them 5 down main, like, and we're just waiting. Like, I love the idea of having your Cypher working. I think that's how you should be playing Valorant, and especially on a map like Haven. That's a very good idea. But you need to be faster than what we saw Bean doing. They looked very indecisive when it came to what they wanted to make happen, and I think that you really got to be a little bit faster, and that's going to really prove it there with Hysteria. Going to just be the first one to the punch and secure that kill, and it just allowed nobody there to follow up on it, which just kind of allows Roosevelt to back up. And I don't know what I feel like both teams are playing well. The problem comes with the fact that MSU is able to bait rotates, and they do that very well with how they're, like, keeping their opponents on the A site. It's just a problem of, like, are you going to be able to do the retake and, like, force them out?
You're absolutely correct, because these retakes have just been stellar on the side of Roosevelt. It's the holds from MSU that definitely need shaping up. Tripwire will go off for Xerix to give him some more intel, and now he's aware, very aware, as 2 swings come out. Engine going big on 2. It's all down to the last remaining player for MSU, which is Tractor. He does have the jet knives coming out, but it won't really do anything for him, and Engine's going to get 3 to close out the round, and this snowball effect is just picking up more and more steam with no real answer to MSU.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I want to see. I think, for the most part, a default play could work, because we've seen this side of MSU. They have decent aim when it comes to comparing to their opponents. I'd say they're about on par, maybe a little bit worse, but it really does come to a problem of, like, you're not really communicating with your team, at least from what I've seen. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult to get everything out, but from what we've seen, it's like these retakes, like one person pops out of CT, one person pops out of garage, like they just can't help it.
Oh my. As you say that, Engine goes big on 2, immediately traded off by Azua. So that is halted ever so slightly. But now this man advantage is going to be comforting for Roosevelt here. Sai is in a position to maybe... Never mind, he's immediately spotted by Hitbox. Wonderful reaction time to adapt to that. Tractor's still at the bottom of this ramp. Now the smoke, if anything, working more against than aiding, because Hysteria is going to take full advantage of this smoke now and might even enter a long, especially with that op. Azua is going to rejoin his teammate, firing off some rounds towards heaven. Flash coming out, smoke to try and alleviate some of the pressure, but everybody's just set up here. Xerix will fall to Tractor, and is in a very sticky situation, doesn't make it work, and Azua goes big for 3 on the round. It's somehow evened out. It's all on Hitbox. They're stuck in A long now. He spots him out. He runs out of ammo, though. Gonna pick up Tractor as well, getting 3 on the round to clutch it up in what should have been an MSU round.
You're doing something wrong.
I'm gonna be honest. I like that, like, a lot. Like, I think they played that almost perfectly. The problems just came with the fact that they were a little bit too slow, and it allowed hitbox to just kind of make their way into long. And that's something you got to worry about in Valorant. That's why you see upsets in different seeds all the time, because of situations where it's like, okay, yeah, we just have to make some kind of play that won't be expected. And I think that Roosevelt did that a lot that round, whether or not it was the Jet hit it, sitting in the dark cover with the shorty, or whether or not it was the Jet going down long, or the hitbox doing it right after. But they looked good, and I think both teams certainly played a really good round. But the problems just become with Roosevelt not really being able to get most of what they want in the start at this point, because I like that aggression they pushed out there.
Spike down A.
This aggression still trying to be made useful here. It does work out for Miles, though, who's able to take out Xerix. And Hitbox, left on low HP, is going to need a little bit of assistance from Fishy here. A drone from the solo.
Here, no?
He definitely could. A retreat into heaven might be what they need, but Azula will catch Hitbox. With that, they might just rotate completely. All the way to the C site we go, and Azula is going to take advantage of this. But Fishy doing the exact same thing. He'll come into the C long area here, shooting in the wrong spot. Does ship him a little bit. Isn't exactly aware of the position. He's flashed out, and Azula finally giving an answer for MSU will put them on their first round win in this first half.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there was a way Roosevelt wins that round, because we had Midas, or they had Midas just like sitting in the back. He was rotating fast and furious, looking to get to C main. And even if you got the kill there, I mean, you got the kill, but sure, it's like, that's a kill compared to what's going against you, where you're going to see a Sova being able to play a phenomenal post-plant. They didn't even need to, and it was just a paranoia to secure the round. We're going on to round number 10 here. And the best we will see Roosevelt get is an 11-1 half. And I won't say that's off the cards right now, but I certainly think there's chances for a 9-3, 10-2. But I do think that Roosevelt, they look good. And MSU is kind of just being able to make some good plays to counter. But I need to see them. I need to see more, because there's been very few rounds this half that actually look like MSU is putting up a fight that I would be like, okay, yeah, there's certainly a team that could win this match. Because Roosevelt, they've been the complete opposite. And I really have to put that on the back of Hysteria, who's been really doing the heavy lifting for this team when it comes to being able to just secure those early picks. And whether or not that, or it's just like being that presence maker on A long to be able to find damage.
Here.
Well, Sai is going to just spot one out over in Garage. He's going to spot out another one. The Dimensional Drift is running out of juice here, so he's going to make something happen, and he will make it happen with the Bucky. Taking out Fishy. He's not traded off, surprisingly. He's still alive. Miles regrouping onto the site to get the bomb down, but Hunter's Fury is going to deny that. It is going to incur a little bit of damage onto Sai, along with Tracker being taken out by Hysteria. Very nice quick scope, but even so, the delay was just enough for the spike to go down. But Engine going big on two, one with a dart, one with a rifle. Bean taking out Xerix, alleviating the pressure ever so slightly. You do have MSU in pretty critical positions here, but now Hitbox taking out Bean is going to leave Azula in a very difficult situation. He swings out, taking out Engine, swings out, getting out Hitbox, but Hysteria with an op. Not much to do against it. 9-1 scoreline now for Roosevelt.
Gun here.
I mean, I gotta say, it's like they're putting up more of a fight, MSU. But even that last round, like, you'd think that's really close, but it really was just Azia taking that double kill, and they made it a 1v1 instead of it being a 3v1. So, like, yeah, it was close, but it wasn't what I wanted to see. And I think at a certain point, you gotta, like, I'm not sure what it is. I've never seen this team play. I've never looked at like their stats or anything. I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction. They don't have an IGL, and I think somebody needs to step up because they're making mistakes that you would not see a team because they look good. Like they have players here who have like those radiant buddies, and Fishy takes the first.
Fishy does remove Tractor from the equation early on, so fragging power has been lowered a little bit. Despite that, usually MSU lose a man and are still able to get the spike down anyway. Sai is spotted out by the drone from Engine. Bean is removed by Xerix now. Checking the corners here. Cypher is going to get the neural theft and collect very key information here, as the post plan is just looking stellar once again. Psy not able to make anything happen, and it's a flawless victory for Roosevelt this time around. Almost wasn't.
Last
Also,
round
I like
before
that.
the
I like
switch.
that a lot. I think that was one of MSU's better rounds, even though they didn't get a lot of kills at all. But they played like a team. They got the spike down early on, which is something they've had trouble doing. And they had a high-low setup that they did create between that Cypher and Yoru. Obviously, the Yoru did end up opting away from it, but I think just the idea of creating it, it made me feel, okay, yeah, maybe they're going to be able to win this round. And unfortunately, it did not turn out that way. Psy ended up using the gate crash. We saw a little bit of more mistakes coming in from some of the other players, but it looked like they had a good chance of taking that round with that high-low they created and kind of forcing out CT to really expend a lot of utility to break it. It seemed like a situation that they could win, but unfortunately, being in that 4v5 situation from the get-go definitely does put you at a disadvantage.
Well, we're entering our final round of the half, so MSU definitely need to walk away with something here. Hysteria is trying to walk away with the life of Tractor, which he spotted the barrel. I don't believe Tractor is aware that Hysteria is on this A long, and nope, not even a little bit. Tractor is removed by a swift 7.62 round. Oh, then again, it could be a magical bullet. Who knows?
Oh my god, and Hysteria just so pushed up in A main. They've positioned themselves in a location that, I mean, yeah, it's good. And I think that you can't look to go A here if you are. So, oh no, the Rolling Thunder is just going to devastate them. How on earth are they still alive? Oh, they didn't actually push. I thought they had pushed in, but they will back up. They will have that mental fortitude. What?
They have to enter the crosses of Hysteria once again. Oh my god, Sop just gives them another kill for free. That's a triple for Hysteria. Swinging out. Still, we have Beam trying to make it happen, but no. Hysteria's just going to get 4 on the round. And now Hitbox is back with Azura up in the heaven position. And Engine utilizing the shorty to take him out. Another back-to-back flawless round for Roosevelt. And they'll close the half with an 11-1.
Can we just talk about the fact that Roosevelt's Jet was pushed in A main that entire round, faced 5 players, and not a single one took their life? Like, okay, I was kind of thinking, alright, so they want to play towards A, maybe we'll see them drone out, and then they might be able to spot out the Jet, or if not, they might at least bait out the Tailwind. And I thought that was a strategy. Okay, yeah, and then they kind of show presence towards A, they make them at least use their time, maybe they put a dark cover up towards A long to just put a little bit of more pressure, make them think, okay, they could be pushing up A long, or they could be going short. However, they just dry peaked that, and Hysteria I think got 3 that round, which I genuinely we've watched 11 rounds of Valorant that have gone in the favor of Roosevelt. That might just be the one where it's like they didn't even play well.
That was probably the Hysteria's one. And as I say that, Hysteria continuing his torrential reign as he picks up 1, but Tractor entering back. Engine also joining the fray now. Tractor getting another one on the fishy. Still trying to find more, but taken out by Zix as he gets a double kill. Hitbox taken outside. And once again, this pressure from Roosevelt is not mounting up at all, and they definitely want to close it out here. Vandals in hand, low armor. They're looking to go to map 2 as soon as possible.
I like this buy, though. Buying on a Marshall could be really strong for the side of MSU, especially if you can pilot that down long. Do they drop the gate crash? Hopefully the answer is yes, just so that they can put that on either site. Looks like they want to play aggressive towards mid, which I mean, I don't hate. I think it's a decent idea, but I'm not sure how confident I am. That will limit the ideas of flanks coming through garage or B sites, so I'm liking that, and yeah, I think that this might just do it, not gonna lie, with already Eugene down to very low HP, and the first kill comes out. It's gonna be very rough. However, the light shields that were bought for Roosevelt do give me a little bit of discomfort when it comes to will they be able to take the frame.
Oh my goodness. Just walking him down is Eugene. Picking up 3. It's all on Azura, who just has a sheriff in hand. And yet another flawless round for Roosevelt, closing out our map number 1 with a ridiculous 13-1 scoreline. What an absolute demolishment.
Yeah, that was a crazy game, and I'm just gonna say it. I thought everyone on this team played crazy. Agent gonna be our player to take that MVP. It's gonna be Hysteria with 4 first bloods on the board. Certainly a great situation to be in if you're Hysteria. They were on that operator for so long this series, and they've already proven themselves. Hitbox as well. They were they were probably my MVP, just to be straight up with it. 10 assists, and that their general utility usage was kind of what throws MSU off their game just because it was a situation where they couldn't really contest it. And I think that kind of does come out with the composition. They didn't have a lot to really counter the breach util. We didn't see them exchanging flashes. I think I'm gonna be totally honest here. I don't think we saw either the paranoia or the flash from the Yoru come out like I think we saw it like 5 times max that first half, which it's not something you got to take lightly. If you're playing these utility based characters, because Yoru is not a duelist. I'm gonna say that as like my hot take. It is not. It's an initiator who, yeah, has a lot of
Yeah.
utility options.
Essentially, as you were saying, just the what we should have seen, the aggression from MSU, it just wasn't really there. They were fast in their initial breaks, but aside from that, they just kept losing the first bloods, and immediately it trickled down after the post plant. You would think the post plant would try to, you know, make them be a little more focused on terms of angles, but they kept just getting overpowered by, as you were saying, that breach utility being showed to its full capability when it came to the flashes and the drill bit, and especially the rolling thunder clearing up the sites. It's just, it was something that MSU couldn't adapt to despite what they had in the pocket. And I don't think their agent picks honestly helped them out on that side. But what usually we would see a break after in map number 1, our teams are fired up and ready to go. I think we're just gonna head straight into map 2 right now.
We will be moving over to Icebox. It's pretty different. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's a couple things we're gonna be seeing that will be similarities. I think that yeah. Okay, we will be seeing the Gecko get picked out, which is an interesting pick. Okay, well, I'm just going to be completely eating my words here. We'll be seeing a ton of switches. Roosevelt, they're going to be adapting, and they're going to be taking off that Jet, putting in the Yoru in its place, which I don't hate, and it's interesting seeing Hitbox on the character because they were on that breach last game. So, I mean, maybe they have the same ideology about the characters as I do, with Yoru being more of an initiator than a duelist, but PSY picking up that Teo, I like this composition more. I'm just gonna say it. I think that the ages of Cypher and Killjoy are over. It's a deadlock vice meta for sure, unless it's like a certain couple maps. So I'm gonna favor. I'm gonna favor Roosevelt still, just because of how good they looked map 1. But composition wise, I do like what MSU is offering.
As we enter in our map number 2, heed the side switch very briefly. MSU are now going to be towards the left side of your screen, those at home, starting off on our defense. And Roosevelt will be started over on the right side of your screen, starting off on our attack.
I gotta say, it is a little bit surprising that they will be running this Yoru ISO on Icebox and not Haven, just because this was the composition that you would pair these two duels together on Haven when it was that 2024 year when we saw Fnatic adapting this playstyle. And I gotta say, it's one of my personal favorites. I know a lot, and I mean a lot of tier 3 teams love this composition as well, running these two duels together. I think I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the solo Viper from both sides, because like unless you're like a very high level Viper, this is a situation where you're not going to be able to default wall for most of the game, because you would only have that orb as your last remaining smoke. So maybe it'll work out not having like an Omen, Astra Clove to back you up, but I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Going to be interesting. The potential lineups from both of these Vipers might be what separates the two of them. Still a little bit slow. As I say that, though, Roosevelt have already made their way onto B site, and Fishy has gotten the bomb down. Alarm bot and swarm grenade going on the post for the post plant. The rest of Roosevelt just gonna back up here, as now The rotates have come through, but it's just Roosevelt's not really gonna give any positioning that they need to. And as I say that, Eugene going big on 2 and Hitbox also getting 1. Miles trading it off onto Eugene.
Last
2v4,
player standing.
not looking good. Sai also hits the ground from Hitbox. And Hysteria closing out the round. Very, very quick plant. Very quick post plant. And taking the pistol right away is Roosevelt.
I think I understand this now. They wanted to run that Viper instead of something like a more traditional smoke character because they want to play for lineups, and Brimstone isn't very meta on this map. At least from last time, like that was the game plan for them. They said, okay, we're gonna go and we're gonna just go be psyched, and we're not gonna have anybody stick on the site. We're gonna just play main, which I love. And unfortunately for the side of MSU, they had nobody really covering space towards B main or mid, so they didn't really have a flank they could put online. So it left them with just, I mean, they didn't really get even a chance to pinch them out in B main. It just kind of was a little bit of a weak situation, but they are gonna have a lot of players stacked towards A, so this is promising.
The grenade coming out. Miles getting a pick right away. Hysteria answering back with 2 of his own. Utilizing that Vandal very critically here.
Last player standing.
I was still stuck in the back, and Engine going big on a triple kill. It's just too fast and too much to happen. The overwhelming dominant force of Roosevelt has just been so strong here.
Honestly, I kind of disagree. They lost a lot of rifles there, and you really shouldn't be doing that in the second round. So I do have hope for MSU. I think there's a chance they can win this out, but
Listening.
yeah, I'm not sure how likely that chance is going to be now that the full rifles are going to still be here with multiple Vandals on the line. It becomes a situation where this loadout can instantly cause problems if you just get destroyed instantly. And Viper to come up, gain some space in mid, and that is going to be Miles to take the first kill, which you gotta give him credit for. Being able to take this round by storm, finding that first blow, and the only real problem that I'm seeing is not really a problem anymore. I was thinking like the mid work might still be happening, but not really. Nobody's even attempting to go near it.
An MSU first blood is extremely important here, and on such a critical character too. The ISO unable to provide that wall or the initial weakening that it provides, but now Xerix entering the heaven side is going to remove Sai from the equation, shooting off the vial, allowing them to plant. Eugene getting the bomb down. Miles is in the side to answer to some aggression, but he himself is going to have to get aggressive here as Tractor now swings out. And the rest of Roosevelt is actually just going to back up, not going to play directly on the spike. And with that, we're going to see Hunter's Fury come out, but the answering back from MSU has been important. Eugene still going big, and despite the post play, the spike was defused, and MSU are going to take the round. Miles even walks at the third right there.
I mean, I don't hate it. I think that
Right there.
I don't know what I think actually. I think Roosevelt played that kind of poorly. Not
It's
gonna.
a lot to process.
I don't know if they thought that the Hunter's Fury would be able to finish it, even though they already started like using that on one of the isolated players. But it's like you needed to take the wingman offline, and if you did that, you probably win the round. Not gonna lie. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because it was a situation where they were certainly in the driver's seat, but I don't love it.
Not a great sort of hold from Tractor right there. Honestly, kind of gave away their life right there. And now very early. Actually, now the man count has been even out thanks to Sai with the Bulldog. Fishy's still getting this bomb down, forcing another post plan. And yeah, I gotta give it that to these teams. You know, they haven't really been going towards the way of attrition immediately. These post plants have where we've seen all the action, and Azua cannot make it happen. Sai is gonna swing out, and Eugene is an absolute force to be reckoned with. He's cleaning up the last 2 MSU players and giving Roosevelt a third round.
That's certainly going to snowball the lead. We will see the timeout come earlier than the last map, where it was at 5 rounds. This time it will be at 4. So I like this a little bit more, but I'm not sure what you can even talk about because they pushed up mid with a classic, and I don't know if they just
Yeah.
expected to be lucky enough to hit 3 headshots or what the plan was there from Tractor, but they ended up falling. They will be able to pick up an operator for the next round. I'm assuming they're gonna look to pilot this A site, but I I don't know why. I mean, you have 3 people very close in proximity to being able to find something. One of them could stay mid. If not, that makes it 4. Like, are we just assuming there's gonna be nothing B, or maybe it's just start of the round and they're just doing their own thing?
Yeah, it's tough to learn from when there's just not a lot to learn from, honestly. Roosevelt has just been, they've been dominant. They've, aside from that one blunder on the post plant, their ability to frag after the bomb has gone down has just been a lot more aggressive than the side of MSU. And it's just like you can't even learn from position or strategies either, because all it's really come down is just the ability of Roosevelt to click on the heads of MSU. And as we say that now, after a quick little break in the momentum, see what goes on now. Hysteria opening on a round with Tractor. Miles believing there is an agent over towards that midpoint. Doesn't find anything just yet. Vandal in the hand of Hysteria. Trading up. No, I believe that was just a marshal or an outlaw. One of those rifles. In any case, though, Roosevelt actually looking for a bomb site switch. Hysteria still man on an island here, as the Tejo misdrones Hysteria over there. The bomb is planted over there at B, and this could be a major flank if played correctly from Hysteria. He's over towards mid, but no, he's just going to continue to regroup with his team, as Eugene does take a Zua, going big on the side as well. Very long angle. Eugene going to fight with Hitbox. Bean trying to take out Eugene. Hysteria, with that long rotate, will take out Bean and will give another round for Roosevelt.
I'm just gonna say it. I think that the Sentinels on the side of MSU, I'm glad they're not going for flanks, because at least from last game when they were attempting it, they were just really cautious. And not that that's a bad thing, but whoever's leading this team in terms of saying, we're going to execute now, we're going to rush onto site and explode, like, they need to be wary of, like, okay, if we want to start a retake, we need to make sure that our last player on the flank or the lurk is going to be able to actually contribute instead of just be left in a 1v4 situation. So I'm very glad that they didn't try anything like that.
Oh
and
my.
Yeah.
Traction just overpowered by the Roosevelt force, and Hysteria is just gonna keep up this aggression. He's spotted out by the Tejo drone. Hitbox joining the fray. Eugene joining the fray. Now it's Azua with only a classic in hand. I think it's just either gonna deliver their life or maybe play for exits. Exits with a classic, though, less than optimal. Hysteria definitely wants this final kill. But Azua just holding their ground. Gonna talk it out. Take it as an extra little timeout for their team. Use this added time to talk it over. See what they can switch up. See what they can change. See what they can do. But it's cut shortly by a Roosevelt flawless delivered by Hysteria. Getting 3.
I don't even know what to say about that round. That was just, it was as you said earlier, but this is the first time I'm like really thinking, yeah, was just like, this is just the team that clicks heads better, because I didn't see MSU doing anything that I really like felt uncomfortable about. I thought they kind of played the round well. It was just like utility differential and generally shooting better. I like this if you're gonna go aggressive, but they're not, so I don't totally understand why they're holding this angle. Okay, shot goes wide, and Tractor forcing to back up with the domain coming through.
Who wins the gulag? Interesting decision in the fight. Hysteria taking out Tractor and being gifted the op right there. Roosevelt is also gifted with the sight. Even so, Miles is able to pick out Fishy from the gas. Waiting now. He does get a little bit of contact from Wingman. Hitbox picking out Miles, denying any sort of playmaking potential. Hysteria still set up in a great spot. Hitbox getting 3. Aggression from Hysteria doesn't work out. Azula goes big on 2, making it a 1v1. Not a lot of time, so he's got to find Xerix very quickly now. Taps the bomb, trying to get his attention, but he's out of time. I've memorized the count, and I don't think Azua can do it here. Both are just going to have to fall to the bomb, and Roosevelt, with the final, a bomb is actually detonated for the first time tonight.
Huh. I mean, I think that was a good round. I think the only optimal play I would have gone for was, instead of the Gecko trying to fight in the Viper's pit, they should have just dropped that Thrash, not gonna lie, because you could probably connect onto somebody, and it doesn't really give that advantage to your opponents if that dies, and instead you'll be able to kind of get a little bit of utility out, you'll get some information. Obviously, we saw the Annihilation come out from the Deadlock, and that was able to connect onto 1. Unfortunately, no kills to be secured, and a little bit of mid presence will be found. Tractor forced out of a main. They will take a little bit of chip damage to the turret, and instantly a almost complete rotate. This is like the same things we saw last game, except with opposite sides, where it's no longer Roosevelt being baited to opposite sides, and they keep getting this is MSU really just trying to hold a sight here, and they're gonna work in their favor with the first blood going their way.
And MSU is able to sneak out with 1. Hysteria somehow not caught off guard. Tractor utilizing the knives, being able to take out Hysteria. Hitbox trading it off onto Azura right there, and that should give Roosevelt the bomb site once again. Tractor still trying to pull it back for his team as he eliminates Fishy. 2-on-3. Bomb is not in the hand right now. I don't think the team has the spike, and Xerix spotting out Tractor, taking the knives offline. Sai is spotted with Xerix. Now Miles over here on the way of mid, looking to recover the spike, trying to put it down, but Miles was caught up by Xerix with his pants down, not really paying attention. But Sai caught out, Guardian in hand, no real information to use here. Unaware of the player in mid, unaware of the player that's actually on the bomb site. And Sai's mainly just going to have to find out and work against everything here. Hitbox spotting Sai. Will it matter? A couple rounds are fired off. Flash comes out. Sai taps the bomb. He does walk away with Xerix, so he's all lifting it off to a 1v1. The mollies are going to go down to try and alleviate some pressure. Very nice parkour being done, but is it enough? No, he doesn't get in time. Doesn't get it in time. And Sai able to take the bomb offline, finally giving some headway for MSU.
I mean, that was a good round. It was a good round from both teams, I think. And it really was kind of the side of MSU's round to win, because they got that first blood. They looked strong, and they looked like a cohesive unit when they all rotated the sites together, and they kind of read the field as much as they could. But I don't think you can replicate that. That's the problem, because, like, that was nerves of steel required to, like, not get off that bomb at all, and maybe it'll work again. But as of now, Tractor gonna have a little bit of a misplay. They will get called out by the Hunter's Fury. A couple tags will go down, but no kills to be secured.
Kills on the side of MSU, however, has found Hysteria, who's gone absolutely crazy in this series. Miles even taking out Hitbox as well to alleviate even more pressure. Sai even suppressing the KJ. Definitely making Roosevelt regret their decisions now. Fishy still trying to see if any blunders from MSU come out, but I think they're just going to have to opt in for what might be a rotate. They've definitely slowed the tempo rather significantly here. Eugene and Fishy still trying to make A work here. The rest of MSU just holding their angles, And just like that, Xerix is spotted off by Bean over in mid. So that's mid control lost as well. And now, and Eugene taking out Tractor. Still trying to hit it's a second one on the Miles, but the flash, the concuss, mainly going to be the downfall. 1 versus 3 for Fishy. Weirder things has happened as he gets one immediately traded by Bean. And MSU starting to look alive. The gift of life has been breathed into the team. And finally, we definitely have a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. 6-3 scoreline now.
Weapon here.
I'd
Ballistics set
have
up
to
decent
disagree.
kills. And if they don't,
I need to see more from MSU before I think that they have a chance that's likely. I'd say now it's, in my mind, 20-80 they win this. Because, yeah, the round got close, but even when it was a 2v5, I was kind of thinking, like, yeah, it looks bad, but there's still a chance. And that chance is relative. Like, especially the 3v5 situation before we saw the deadlock from the side of MSU able to take down the Viper in mid. I was like thinking, okay, yeah, it's a 3v5. They took a bunch of kills. Like, if you just lurk, you can find a bunch. And that value wasn't there, so it will be another round converted for MSU. And 3-6, it's not the end of the world, but it's these small things where you're like forced off of pipes now, and it's just little mistakes that, like, I wouldn't even call them a mistake, actually. I think that was the right play. Now that I really consider it. This team has been doing unspeakable things, which you gotta love, so destroying the decoy might have just been the right play. You should run.
Zua is taken out by Hysteria, utilizing the ISO shield. Eugene taking out Psy. And just like that, Roosevelt setting the motions back into their favor. Junji getting a little bit of a gunfight here with Tractor. Fires the dart off. And despite what was the advantage, Eugene takes out Tractor. Miles answering back. Immediately traded off by Hitbox. Bean taking out Hitbox and Xerix. Closing the round. The music has been swayed back towards Roosevelt. And you're absolutely right. I think we should have seen more from MSU before I had said something. You know, it was just the first time that MSU finally had some kind of leeway. The 2 rounds in a row definitely was a switch up, especially from what we saw on map 1. But just again, Roosevelt able to dominate.
I mean, I didn't hate the first round. I thought the 3rd round that they won, yeah, was good, but there's a difference in my mind between a round that was won off of good teamwork and good utility, or a round that was won because you got early picks and it was carelessness from your opponent. That last round, that's what I call it. The first 2 was a little bit rough as well, and there's a lot of ults, so I think this is winnable, but the Armageddon does go offline, which does create a situation that is detrimental to everyone in play. Wingman comes out, there's going to be the next kill, equalizing and bringing the pain. And after that, 7 rounds, instantly going to look to make 8, and working hand in hand, there's going to be Fishy along with Hitbox, finding the next 1 remaining player on the flank. And we've seen Azza in this position before, and they don't seem like they want to contest this. And hey, it's the same gun too, where they just have that classic in hand.
I love the RGX Classic. Yeah, definitely playing for exits here. Oh, wait.
Okay, yeah, I thought that was coming. Because why on earth would you expect a kill this late in the game to be on the flank? But it was another kill converted. That's 8 rounds. We're on the final round of the half. 9-3. Not the end of the world, to be totally honest. MSU, we all know about the curse. Let's see whether or not they can bring it into fruition, or whether or not they could make this a little bit closer with an 8-4 gap, which honestly, that's easily closable. If you could take pistol, go 6-8, even if you lose down, go 6-9, like, it's still not bad. I mean, maybe 6-10 is where you're, like, really starting to sweat. But I think right now, if they can win this round, I certainly would have them as the team that can win.
Well, MSU definitely having influential ults online. They have that deadlock. They have the Gecko. And they have the Teo. Ults are coming out from Hitbox anyway to gather information. Potentially some playmaking ability coming out. A couple trades from both sides here is Tractor also equalizing it onto Eugene. 1v4 now. As Miles removing Hysteria. MSU in the driver's seat for this round, a round that they critically needed, and now it's all on Xerix, who's off over by the boxes. Smoke comes back up to try and confuse a couple of MSU players, but he's spotted out immediately by Miles
I'm good.
with a quite a nice headshot. I won't lie.
Switching sides.
I don't hate that.
They
I
mess
think
with one of us, they
I
mess
think
with
there was
all of
definitely
us.
ways that could have been closed out a little bit easier, but it wasn't bad by any means. But the Armageddon, it was pulled out at the very end to clear out B main, but I think if you do that as soon as you start hearing presence and they get up towards contacting you in B, it could just be a good idea to flush them out with Tail just there, but they didn't end up using it until that last remaining player was alive, and 4 rounds on the table. It's 4 times as many rounds as they got in the last map, but the question becomes, will they be able to get anything more off of it? Obviously, a double duelist composition, it would be traditionally not suited for the defensive side, and in this way, I won't actually have it as a defensive-sided composition because of that fact, and only having that Sova as well, it kind of limits your retake potential, but it's definitely not a terrible situation to be in.
It's gonna be iffy, definitely. Now you're seeing similarities from our map 1, as MSU is definitely closer together, as Hysteria removing Bean, and Tractor removing Hysteria in the turn. After the initial aggression, their sights are set on B. Alarm bot and Swarm Grenade being deployed. I just spotted out rather quickly. Fishy's gonna need some backup rather soon. And the rest of MSU starting to utilize their utility. Miles is going to get off of the plan, actually. Tractor left in a rough position as 20 health remaining for them. Fishy taking out Miles. 2-on-4.
Player standing.
What should have been an easy plan is now a lost cause. It's all on Ozawa once again. Very familiar situation to be put in. He's able to spot out Xerix though, so gets a kill. Ghost in hand, isn't able to connect as many shots. And Eugene only needs one.
That was kind of what I was scared about, because at this point, door is almost shut. 4 to 10 situation. I do presume that we will see MSU buying into this round, which it is no, I'm gonna say don't buy into this round, just because you know your opponents are likely to be pulling out with some rifles like they have in the past, and I will be right on that. We get to see that scoreboard, Vandal, Outlaw, 2 Guardians, and an Ares. Ares is a little bit of an unconventional weapon, but lots of mid-aggression coming out to start us off in the second round of the half, so I don't hate this. It looks very similar to how they decided to attempt their map of Haven, but I'm not sure whether or not this lack of adaptation is going to find too much value.
Able to put lead down range, utilizing the Ares. It's definitely critical for Fishy here. Couple of blows being exchanged, but not picks just yet. Eugene needs to be aware of the window, but Tractor gives away his position without getting much value. He's actually backed off, and that might give Eugene the potential, and Tractor's just gonna fall right into Eugene's hands. Giving the initial blood over to Roosevelt. A lot of time has escaped, though. We're entering 45 seconds. Hysteria over in a position. Nice flick it, despite not being able to get a shot off. Knocking the bomb, though. Getting for 2. Almost getting a 3rd. Sai is able to remove Hysteria from the equation. Xerix answering back immediately. And Azula, once again, over in Narnia. Was taken out.
I mean, right? Like, this is the problem. This is the problem you're dealing with, because, like, I like the idea of lurks. Don't get me wrong, in any means, I think that lurks, especially in collegiate games, are, like, what determines matches sometimes. But if you are this slow on your lurk, I mean, obviously you don't want to be sprinting, but, like, just holding an angle for that long, especially when your team is already on site, like, you should already be in the opposition spot. That's I do think that Hysteria did a lot of heavy lifting that round. I think that they were kind of that reason that it was a round win in some regards, but I need to see something. Because now we're going to see a lot of light shields come out with weaponry. And against an Outlaw and an Ares and multiple Guardians, well, I guess they will drop 1 Guardian, but a Guardian, that's a 2-shot to the body, secures a kill. Like, that's not something you want to be fighting against if you are running light shields here. So, I need to see something more come out if MSU wants to win this, because they are currently down, and it is match point, sorry. So, it's a big match to win, and I don't know if I have a lot of hope for them to be able to get it, but obviously they've shown that they can win rounds on the post plant before. Mateo has some really good abilities to get it down. Armageddon being an ultimate that they won't have for a while, but they potentially can get that up to try and play a post plant situation along with Snakebite that they do have in hand, and along with the Mosh Pit and a Viper Orb, which both do a lot of tick damage. So maybe you can just play for post plant, but even that's going to be a big ask.
An ask that we may or may not see here. Side doing some drone work. Doesn't spot out much. Still moving in is the rest of MSU. Mazua on that lurk once again. Hysteria taking out Miles, kicking things off very rapidly here as Eugene also entering the fight, taking out Tractor. More manpower being lost by MSU than they are hoping for. What should have been an easy pick for Sai immediately becomes a kill for Eugene. Traded off by Bean and Azua on this mid position. He might encounter Fishy here. They'll end up walking off from what should have been happening. The Gulag does not hit the way Hysteria was looking for it. Loud stomping through. Azua is able to take advantage of it. Smoking off Fishy was very important. Might be able to make it happen. Walking past each other in very awkward situation, and Fishy catching Azua on the flank. 11-4, rapidly closing in on very dangerous territory.
Yeah, I think this might just be the side of Roosevelt shutting the door and locking it, because there's a very light fight. 4 sheriffs, light shields, 1 regen shield gonna be online, and no ultimates in sight. And I'm not saying ultimates are gonna do a whole ton in a situation like this, but like, you gotta have something up your sleeve if you want to take some more rounds, and right now they just don't. There's not an easy way to say it. It's like, maybe you could use this drone to be able to take the Fishy's utility offline. It won't happen, and Fishy just... I feel like this is... I don't want to be this negative, but I feel like this is the problem. This Jet has been time and time again, whether it's Icebox or Haven, playing way too aggressive and away from the team, and it's caused a lot of problems for them.
Yeah, not being able to trade off of the duelists is certainly an issue. Eugene and Hysteria are going to keep up their usual aggression. Azua has traded his classic for a sheriff this time around. Doesn't really matter as the bomb is defused. Swings out, immediately dropped by Hitbox. Not any sort of leeway here from Roosevelt being given. And now, match point, series point.
I mentioned this last map, and I think we just gotta like say it on the second half. It's looking even worse than at the start. I don't think there's like a lot of community. I think the mental is boomed for this team, but it like, I don't understand how, because like it has felt this way since the start, where it's like they don't seem to really be like giving each other ideas. They don't seem to be giving each other comms, and nobody even breaks the dart.
Spike down B.
And just like that, 3 kills for the side of Roosevelt. It's a battle of attrition over there in mid. All hope seeming lost has been. Bean is the last player, and jumping through will be Eugene, making it the win that Roosevelt need to continue on in this tournament and sending MSU home. They'll take it 13-4, another dominant game from them on Icebox, bringing us to a 2-0 and doing it for tonight.
That's going to be our series number 1 for this playoff bracket. Both these teams certainly showed a little bit of promise. Unfortunately, Roosevelt takes it across the line and runs with it. A 13-1 followed up by a 13-4, really playing off of each other and showing that power that they definitely possess this entire time. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be doing it for tonight's stream. Make sure to stay tuned for extra games in the future. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be out. Peace.
Good night, everybody.